love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't stop. Just look up. Don't stop. I'm so gone, no I'm never turning back. I won't stop, I'ma fight until there's nothing left. It's so on, you're gonna be hurting bad, cause I've been to hell and back. You don't wanna make me mad, I stay strong, you will never see me crack. And if you get in my way, you're gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math, when I hate I attack. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't stop. Just look up. Don't stop.
What is going on, guys? It's the MaD Dragon. Round 2 of the Six Nations just about to get underway. Means we get to build our team for the Fantasy League. 5 of the 6 teams are out, and I was a little bit like, am I actually going to do a stream today or not do a stream? But then France announced theirs, and I was like, you know what, that's 5 of the 6, and 6 is Wales, so probably not going to pick any Wales players. So you know what? It's probably just fine. It'll be exactly like we've got all of the all of the teams already out. I'm going to chuck some music on in the background. Notice my chat is broken, even though I fixed it. I fixed it just before I actually started this. Where is my chat box? Let me try and fix this. If you are coming over from the Discord, I have no idea why my thumbnail is wrong on the Discord. It's not. It's correct. I've checked it on every device, but on Discord specifically, it is broken. Where is chat gone? I've lost my the window. Chat box. There we are. Why are you not doing the thing? Yes. Go. There we go. Well, we're a bit we're a bit all over the place, but you know what? We'll take it. How's everyone doing? Lorenzo in for this one. Excited for this week's matches, and you believe in your fantasy team. That is the positivity we need this week. Yeah, I'm hopefully positive about my team this week. Maybe. We'll take a look at the results from last week as well. Man, this is really big. There we are. We can all see everyone's messages now. There we are. I don't know. Every time I've ever done a stream, this chat box doesn't do what you want it to do. Let me move that down, and we can get in. We also got. I'm gonna butcher whatever symbols that name is. I'll go for U7Z. Hey, do how are you doing, U7Z? Let me try and make that a relatively decent size. Oh, it doesn't even want to. Okay, it's okay. If you've ever been to one of my streams before, it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be okay. That's how we tend to do stuff. The Down with Doug in. How we doing, Down with Doug? Where we're positioned. We were positioned same in the fantasy league. Really? I've got round 1 up. I have got it up just 'cause I thought it'd be fun to do a little bit of review of that before we move on to the round 2 stuff. I eventually came 89th. I really wish it told me out of how many people, because we have so many people in it. Where are we? 89th. Yeah, 495. Oh, there we go. That's you then, is it, Lorenzo Ferrari? That's you on the 495. And then it only went on to 490. I wish you could see more. We have way more than 100 people, and it just doesn't show me, which sucks. Apparently there's a big Rugby 25 update Saturday. Do you know anything about this? I don't know if it's I read on the FAQ page, I think it was meant to be Friday. I thought it was tomorrow, to be honest. We'll wait and see what happens with it. I've heard little bits and bobs. I don't know what I am and I'm not allowed to say. I think they are... I don't know how much the gameplay side of it is improving. I think they're doing lots of little touches. I've heard some little rumors and read some stuff on the FAQ page, and there's some stuff hopefully fixing some stuff and improving the game. But we say that every time I've ever done an update, but I am looking forward to it. We are now mid-February by the time we will be getting around to some more Rugby 25 stuff, which hasn't happened for a little while, and Rugby Gaming is slow at the minute. It's first year of not doing the MaD Dragon Six Nations. I really enjoyed it, and I just couldn't face it on Rugby 25 this year, just from the games I've had. They annoyed me too much. Fantasy is fun. I can do fantasy even if I go terribly wrong about it. What a week. Controversial. DuPont was average. You're the same-ish on Superbru. Yeah, DuPont exceeds all the time. He is above average in every game he ever does. He had a perfectly fine game. For most people's standards, I think he had a good game. If it was, I don't know, if Kieran Hardy for Wales had the equal game that DuPont do, they'd be like, wow, what a great game Kieran Hardy had. For DuPont standard, normal, average, but, first game back in, I think that was a reasonable game for him to be able to do. There's some interesting changes, some interesting swaps are coming. I did read yesterday that the French centres didn't train. So no Morfana and no Deporter. So they've done a double swap of the centre partnership, which ruined a little bit of my Superbru lineup that I was thinking of doing for this French one, but the official one, at least I can chop and change that pretty freely. Thank you for exciting videos. This is the translation. Oh, awesome. Thank you very much. We're so happy for the Italy win. Yeah, Italy! Man, you know what? I said it would be a close game, but it was one of those ones where I was like, I just think Scotland will pull it out at the end. I could even see if Italy maybe got in first half in the lead, Garbisi kicking away, maybe, but I see Scotland being able to just put it on. Scotland with a strong bench, Darcy Graham. I knew it was going to rain. I did not know they were going to be in monsoon death rain season. So at that point I was like, well, this everything is out of the bag now. I have no idea what's going to happen in this game, and what a great game by Italy. Was worried they were going to let it slip, not going to lie. That Scotland final attack, I was like, they're going to let this go. They need to just hold discipline. But yeah, awful carry from, I can't think of it was now. It was the replacement lock, wasn't it? Was it Gregor Brown came on for Scotland? Ran into a two-man tackle completely upright. It's like, well, you've doomed it. What have you done there? Don't do that. Safety. Go low. Don't get held up in the maul. Well worked, though, by Italy. And, Pollock had stolen a try. Yep. I'll have a look at the round 1 results. There's Pollock for me with my 9 points. Because he didn't put the ball down. You can just tell, as soon as he gets the ball, he's already thinking, how am I going to celebrate this try? As opposed to just doing the job. Put it down. He should have been sliding 3 feet before that try line. He's over. There's no reason for him not to have got that down. He should have absolutely scored. That would have been 15 points times 3, 45 on. Oh, he would have been 60 points. I'd have been top, maybe. Probably not. But yeah, went completely wrong for me. Italy win was crazy. It was so sad for Wales' large defeat against England. Yeah, I knew that was coming. As it will do this week, I have no doubt. This week's talking point is going to be a lot about France. Because you only get 4 France players. You know, where do you put them? Where do you put them in your friend's team? Yeah, Green Order's best. Yeah, not happy with the changes, Killer. Yeah, the French chopping changes going away. Also seeing that, well, I have got the teams up. I did quickly do this before the stream started. Some interesting changes. Like Gibson Park not starting for Ireland. You know, Italy have just won. Italy just beat Scotland. I wouldn't just be hacking your team apart straight away. I'd maybe try and secure that first half at least. But yeah, Gibson Park is on on the bench. Tyburn moved to the bench, and they've gone Joe McCarthy and James Ryan, which is interesting. I thought Nick Timoney was good, so I could have maybe looked at Timoney starting this week. But they've gone in with Isaac Chukwu, comes in at blindside. I was like, this Ireland team's... James Lowe is now starting. So James Lowe is just regarded in the team as like a bench player, is he now? And he's going to come on for the Italy-Wales games, and he's not playing. Balakoon returning on the right wing. The Irish team's the interesting one for the mix-up. I don't know where they're going to be going this week. Well, we're doing the in the chat there. You know, Pollock said the try. Yeah, showboating before scoring. Yeah, Pollock. I'm not gonna go for Pollock this week. I've had a little bit of a think about my super sub. I honestly don't know. I think maybe the French hooker could be one, an Irish hooker. Ronan Keller, I used him for the thumbnail, but I think Keller could be an interesting one. Darcy Graham is also on the bench again for Scotland. Mad. This week's Italy versus Ireland match will be interesting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. There's another 2 good games this week, and then Wales France will just be. Can we talk about the TMO and the ref of the French game? Yeah, I've seen a couple of bits. The first BLBRA try, the forward pass from, who was it, Deporter to Moafana that began it. I saw that live and was like, oh, that's a shame. That's going to get disallowed, and they didn't review it, and thought that was an interesting one. They didn't pull back out. That one was quite. I missed the Dupont at the back of the scrum with the knock on. I didn't see that till I saw it on Twitter and stuff later on. I was like, oh, that is interesting, because I can see that being mentioned as a knock on. But there was an interesting thing that was talking. I can't remember who it was now. I saw it online. I don't think it was an article. I can't remember where I saw it now. But it was talking about the issue around the way a TMO like is reviewing the games, of whether or not they lean more towards the home side, but not as in like a favoritism thing, but as in like they're sort of applying the rules to the away team, but just trying to allow the game to be free-flowing for the home team, and whether there's something in that. And I don't know if that's in that. I think the refs get so much hate in rugby, and most of the time I don't think it's the refs' fault. The refs make big calls, and I get that, there's always going to be a bad guy, finger point. Yeah, I get it, right? I think the referees are allowed to miss stuff on the field. There's so much stuff to watch at every play of the game. You've got to keep your eye on like 12 different players, who's offside, who's not offside. You've got to rely a lot on your on your touch judges and on your TMO, right? The TMO is one I don't really understand why they get stuff wrong. Like, you have 15 camera angles, you have a team of people around you with different cameras. Somebody can flag something, you can call down to the referee. Some stuff feels like, why is it not being flagged? Some stuff is like, why is that even bothered being flagged? Like it was the Ellis Genge thing in the Wales game. Alex Mann loves annoying people. That's his whole deal. Alex Mann will start a fight with anyone, but he doesn't initiate the fight. He just puts the seed into other people's minds to fight him. And then you have the Ellis Genge, head contact, right? I've seen that in games I have played in, right? It happens. All right, there's some boorish stuff that goes on, especially in the front five, right? A bit of a head nudge is a bit of a, go on then, we'll have you next time, right? And in the modern game, you shouldn't be doing it, and it probably should be a penalty. It should be maybe even a yellow card, right? It goes on a rugby pitch. You'll probably see it a lot. If you really broke down a lot of rucks and stuff, you'd probably see it a lot more. But a TMO flagging it, putting it on the big screen or something, and then being like, we won't even review it. I feel like you could review it. You shouldn't really be showing it on TV. Of people going in with a head, if you're not going to penalise it or not, do it. I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff about the red card for South Africa from an identical situation. There's so many weird things to do with officiating in rugby. It is very, very weird. So I was going for Gibson Park as your super sub. Interesting call. Scrum half, super sub. The scrum halves are always very hit and miss for me, as we know from last round with my... oh, that's not the right one. My Jamie Dobby pick. which, oh boy, did that not pay off last week. Somebody said last week, I can't remember who it was, I think it might have even been Doug last week, said the Jamie Dobby pick is either a master stroke or a terrible idea. And it turned out to not be very good. Seeing as Scotland didn't want to give him the ball. Don't know what that was about. Very weird to put Jamie Dobby out on that wing over Darcy Graham and then remove the players in the attacking phases from being able to get the ball to him. I don't know how many people would have paid attention to it. I was paying very close attention to it. If they were going right, it was going through the hands. If they were going left, they would always let a forward carry midfield into the defensive line, get taken down, and everyone from the left-hand side ran round to the right-hand side. So they had 14 men on one half of the field and Jamie Dobby out here on his own. There was multiple phases against Italy, nobody marking him. There was nobody out there, and they didn't get the ball to him. Very, very weird. I thought it was a great pick, and it wasn't utilised at all. So, don't know if they'll do that for the England game, whether they'll realise it. No Doohan, which is everyone's first pick, right, for the Calcutta Cup in any game for the Fantasies. No Doohan. Darcy Graham on the bench again is a big call. Where can you see those lists of players? All the lists of players that I take are just they're literally from the Guinness Six Nations Twitter feed, or I guess they do the same on Facebook. It's just the same things, and I just crop them down to squeeze them all on. They do all the team announcements. It comes out a little bit later after the official team announcements gets up, so you sort of you got to wait for it. You've always hated the TMO. It's like they snitch perfect in the background. Exactly. Let the ref play what they see, not the TMO. Yeah, I don't mind the TMO getting involved if there's something actively illegal, if someone's stamped on someone on the ground or thrown a punch or done something. The ones that I don't quite understand is where you see the try replays. You know, someone goes over, like you've got the, or maybe even like a bit of a rule change. I don't know, like the Henry Pollock try, right? Henry Pollock gets over and scores a try, but doesn't score because of an illegal action taken his neck. So it gets reviewed for the yellow card. And Plumtree goes off with his yellow card. That's fair enough. That's what a TMO should be for, reviewing the illegal action of that player. I don't really know why that try doesn't get awarded anyway. I'm probably very biased because I had Pollock as the fantasy pick for me. But I don't know why that doesn't get awarded to the player. You could still say penalty try to Henry Pollock. He would have scored had the illegal action not happened. I still think there could be a bit of a rule change there to maybe allow that one. I don't know. Give me points, World Rugby. Why do they not let me do it? Why do they not let me have my extra points? I want to win. I want to win one of these fantasies. I'll never win one of these fantasies. Way too open to abuse the TMO. Also, the aggression really adds to the game. Let it be. Yeah. MaD Dragon, why not live review the Rugby 25 update? I guess I could. The problem is that I never know what I'm walking into. We've done Rugby 25 updates before where it crashes 9 times. I condense all that down into a video and go, it crashed again, and we move on. On the real life end, doing a live stream, that's 4 minutes of the game rebooting, me relinking OBS. There's a lot of stuff that can go very wrong with it. It's not a bad idea, to be fair. I do quite like doing the live streams, but also it's just time with work. I still have a 9-to-5 job. I've specifically book off weekends around the Six Nations and stuff to be able to do these streams now. I always used to do videos for over the Six Nations and stuff, but if it was normally they do the Rugby 25 updates on a Wednesday, I'm never going to book a Wednesday off, so I'd have to do it like after work. It'd be a late stream. I don't know. Maybe it could be a thing though. Dobby, not the right choice as Ryan. So yeah, it wasn't. I was going to try and make an argument. No, in your amateur, it's an amateur opinion, but the French national team is doing very well. Maybe if you're class yourself as an amateur, the French team is doing very well. I had France down to win the Six Nations. And I think they're on for an enormous game versus Wales. On that Scottish fullback is still in this week. No Kinghorn, no Doohan. Yeah, I think Doohan is a misstep. I think the Scotland team are in trouble. The team they put out, I mean, they've done. Let me get the Scotland team up for this week. They've really not done a lot to that team in the way I would think they would want to change it. Change it. You've got Schoeman on the bench now. And they've got Nathan Macbeth given the shot there against an England scrum that looks good. Is interesting. Gregor Brown starting at that lock, which I'm sure it was Gregor Brown that did that final carry, which was a poor carry into the double tackle. Jamie Ritchie going in is probably a good move at the 6 for the Jackal threat, because the breakdown's going to be hugely contested versus England. But like Jamie Dobby still on the wing over Darcy Graham, I think is silly. There's no need. have Jamie Dobby as a special sub to come on to cover scrum half or wing. I think would be a better option. Tom Jordan. I'd have King Ord in there. But if it goes wrong again, Scotland team in desperate trouble. Quit your job already. We are trying to enjoy the Six Nations. I know. What if I quit my full-time job and take my £2 a day live stream job on YouTube and lose my house? That could absolutely be. Why not? A great deal. Good for me. Connor's Rugby, how you doing, Connor, man? Long time since we've had a chat, mate. We'll have to catch up at some point. Maybe after the Wales-Scotland game, you can brag about how much they destroy Wales. I think Gregor Townsend trying to get sacked, to be honest. Genuinely can't think of any other reason to put that team out. Yeah? I think last week he said so much confidence as well about like what his team is capable of and the depth of the Scotland team. If you don't before, I don't know. Maybe he has. Maybe he has had enough. Maybe he just feels like can't achieve the thing he wants to do with Scotland. So he's like, I'll give it a different go. Maybe something for a different job. The Wales coaching job might be back up at the end of this. Who knows? Oh, Deg, very generous man, coming in with a $4.99. You boosted my stream. You're trying to convince me to quit my job. Here it is. You're like, if we can get the donations rolling, we can quit my job, as soon as possible. Maybe. Absolutely. Thank you very much. That's very generous of you, man. It's very nice. No, never feel any pressure to do donations and stuff for the stream, but it is always very, very appreciated. Sorry, also it still doesn't come on stream. I've actually looked into this over the last week, and it seems to be like a thing wrong with Stream Elements. It used to pop up on stream, and they've like broken it. They themselves have broken it. I'll do it there so we can see it in the chat, because that's fair to be able to. I feel like it deserves to be shown off in the chat. When people donate, they deserve some sort of praise. Oh, I've just realized it. Like up here, it's going over my little box. Still a little bit. We haven't quite. I'll never fix this chat box. It fights you so much on YouTube. Right, let's take a look at last week's team then for me and how it went. So we ended up being 89th with 495 points. Overall, not too bad. A lot of those picks worked really well for me. It was basically Scotland. Let me down. Ramos as captain was a good choice, and I think might be another one for this week. BLBRA, I didn't expect him to get 2 tries versus Ireland. I thought it would be meters made more than anything for Louis BLBRE, but it's him, and again, I think he's going to be a monster in this game. Arundel got 46 with his hat-trick, so even though he, it's amazing, right? He scored less than BLBRE for an extra try as well. But that was originally Faye Waboso, and then after I did the stream, I'd locked my team in, I'd sorted it out, and then found out post-first match of the Six Nations on that Ireland-France game that Faye Waboso was injured, so very quickly was allowed to change it. One thing I really like about this official one over the Superbru one, you can change players live if they haven't played already. Much, much better. I got screwed in the Superbru by not being able to get rid of Faye Waboso and having Ellis me run onto the field and do nothing. Sunday partnership didn't work out for me. Tom Jordan, I didn't do anything. Literally didn't do anything. Wasn't even selfish. It's one of the reasons I go for Tom Jordan. He doesn't pass the ball, but he didn't even hold on to the ball. He just kept kicking it away. Hugh Jones on 7 was surprising. I just didn't hear his name all game. Jamie Dobby out on the wing. No one wanted to give him the ball. He was out there on his own the whole game until he got subbed off, and nobody gave him the ball. Except to commit a foul on Menoncello. Great move by Jamie Dobby. Paolo Garbisi, 15 points. Yeah, let me down again. I thought kicking points for Italy would be really good. I was surprised he actually scored that low. Because he had a couple of drop goals that were missed as well, which was a shame. But he only carried for 9 meters. He was really used as a distributor of the ball rather than giving any sort of attack presence himself. Didn't even carry to the line, which wasn't expecting. But in that 9 meters, beat one defender. I don't even know how that works. 2 penalties against him as well. So that's it. So that's the area of change for me this week. That main 4 is something I'm going to really focus on. Probably put a bit more stars into this week. The back row's pretty good. I was expecting that to do okay. That was the best lock department of the round, I believe. Was Guillard and Chesham. So I don't think that's a terrible partnership to go with again. Ferrari with his man of the match, 33 was good for a prop, 19. Dan Sheehan, 13, not great. So that's the sort of aim that we're going to be changing this week for me. Personally, I don't know if everyone else got on. Yeah, and then the Superbru, the Super Sub, sorry, the Pollock. With his 9 points. 9 points. Why didn't he just put the ball down? Yeah, you honestly believe France the way to go? Yeah, France are a really weird one for round 2. Should we jump in and start building the team? See that George Ford is being appreciated. I'm happy from that point of view for me, who likes him. I want him to score crazy drop goals like it. Yeah, George Ford has always been good. I think his age works against him a bit for that England team. That they don't really seem to want to like desperately get him into that squad. You know, Arca Smith or Finn Smith has got the nod sort of ahead of him, but he's very, very good at just organising the team. And had a very, very good game as well. So let's hit the old record button. I'm also waiting to see at some point. Oh, in fact, there it is. Let me bear with me for 2 seconds. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. As soon as I started, I've been waiting for a package all day from the Royal Mail. Normally they turn up at like 10 a.m. They haven't turned up. They haven't come, and I was like, I bet they're going to come when I'm live streaming. As soon as I'm about to start doing the stuff for round 2, ding dong. Yep, there it is. Well, that's how it is. My luck. I mean, that is a sign of how my luck works. I just knew it was going to be. They normally turn up 4 hours ago, but nope. Today we'll turn up now. Great. So. Let us jump in then to round 2 of the fantasy, building our team, and I will do as we've done in previous years, where I basically delete the entire team going through. We did okay last week with the things. We're going to just sack everybody. We'll regain the stars and see where we ended up. I believe we started with 200 stars, right? So we'll see if I had any sort of net positive from my team last week. Oh, it's getting awfully close here. Or did we actually drop down in stars? We dropped down slightly. I thought I had a good team last week. Okay, apart from the Scotland players didn't do well, I've slightly dropped down. Oh, Goose, let me know that Burns scored more than Chesham. Did he? I mean, I thought Ollie Chesham had a good game. The scoring system for the official one still throws me off a little bit, because there can be players that I think have had exceptional games, and other players beat them on other background numbers, and I'm like, why does that equal more points, or doing some other stuff? I used to complain about it last year for like minutes played. I thought minutes played was a really rubbish one. What was another one I saw? I was having a look at one earlier on, which was because I was looking at Garbisi. I've just deleted him now. Garbisi was oh yeah, don't forget to remove the super sub. Yes, well said, Lorenzo. I forgot about that. Where was it? Oh, it wasn't him. It was I was looking at Prendergast. Sorry. It was there. Kicks recovered, and I was like, what an interesting one that they've like got, because that isn't in any of the rules. Like the 50-22 is, the drop goal is, the line out steals, like all these are in the rules, but I can't see anything for points for the kicks recovered. But Prendergast was like awarded for 2. Prendergast, gonna spell that wrong. Not even typing. Good start. Prendergast. Yes, we've got like awarded points for like 2 kicks recovered, but it doesn't say how many points, and I don't know why, and I don't necessarily know what it means. Recovering your own kicks? Does somebody tapping back the ball that you've kicked? Is it catching a kick that they kick to you? I don't even necessarily know what it means. Yes, very good point though. We've got to get rid of Pollock, so we should now have gone up. We're up 11 stars. Hooray! We can build an even better team. Not gonna lie, I'm not a massive fan of the way they do the increase or drop the point system in terms of how well the players, they score more. I know a lot of people are. I like the idea of a budget, so you're locked into a team. I do find though that like, if you had a really bad round 1, let's say you really backed Scotland and Wales in round 1, right? That you would now have lost like a lot of stars. So going into round 2, I've got 211. Someone else might have like 160. And then because not only have you lost stars, but the players have gone up in value, you kind of get locked out of building a better team. So if you have 2 bad rounds, 3 bad rounds in a row, I feel like you kind of get locked out of the fantasy being able to build the team you really think. I don't know. That might just be me. Hugh Jones is saying that... Oh, Hugh Jones. We've got a Hugh Jones in the chat. Said to take a look at the points. I had a look at the points. I don't remember there being one about kick returns, is there? Or kick? Oh, sorry, kick retain. There is 2 points for kick retain. But what does it mean? as in, they kick themselves on an up and under and catch their own kick? Is it just the team as a whole retains the ball that they themselves kicked, so anyone can slap back or anyone can catch? What does it mean? I don't know. I want a little hint at what that actually means. The rest of them are all, very, very easy. Offload two hand, interesting as well. So it's not even just offload, it's offload two hand. That's the only one I think that actually the wording, I'm not 100% sure what they want from that one. Right, let us dive in. Put a bit of a general music in the background. If the music is too loud, let me know and I can lower it down a little bit. Right, so am I choosing my super sub first? I don't know, honestly. So the big question for this week, right, is France. Which France players do you pick? Because France are gonna annihilate that game. I think it might be the highest scoring loss Wales have ever had in the Six Nations. I'm that level of I just think we don't even know what the Wales team is. I think France are going to destroy that game. So, I'm thinking you've got to go for your 4 French players, but who do you go for, right? Because every single position, whoever you pick from France is probably going to be the highest scoring player in that position, right? I can see Julien Marchand getting maul tries. I can see the locks stealing lineouts all game, as we saw versus England. Anyone in that back row for France having a great game. Dupont, probably the best scrum half of the round. Fly half, Jalibert, probably going to be the best fly half of the round. Your centre combo, maybe not, because they got 2 new centres in this week. And then anyone in that back 3, I think, could be the top. So it's you can't really mess up with France. It's just, there's no wrong answer, but what's the best right answer? And I don't know. I still think you've got to stick with Ramos and BLBRA. That's going to annoy me, because it's not on the side I want it to be on. I think you've got to stick with... But then everyone's going to do that, right? Because the kicker and the best winger has got to be in there. So that's 2 of my 4. Do I go for my French sub and get the thing up? Now, where is France? Because France had... There's France for me. But I think the French backs are going to destroy. You take anywhere from that 9 through 15. I will be perfectly honest. Bioré is not a name I'm that familiar with. Emilio Garton is very, very good at outside centre. I don't know a lot about the inside centre, but a lot of people are saying he is doing very, very well at club level. So I'm well, okay. Looking at the idea of using my super sub from a team I think is going to win, that's what I went with last week with England, and I went for Henry Pollock, and nearly paid off. Nearly paid off very, very well for me. Is who do you go for? Baptiste Saran will come on. I guess he's there for both 9 and 10 coverage. Do you go for Noah on the 23? Do you go... they've got Thibaut Flamand and Miafu on the bench, so they've got double lock subs, which means I'm guessing that Charles Olivant is going to be back row coverage when those boys come on, as opposed to Thibaut Flamand playing 6. I assume Charles Olivant will move back. So it looks like that might be a utility pick, but I don't know if Olivant is down as a lock in this game or if he's a back rower. Do you go for Lamont? I had a look at Lamont's stats. He's played 7 games from the bench over 2025-2026 and has scored 3 tries. So he's got about a 50% strike rate at scoring tries from the bench. So maybe you could look at the French hooker to come on against Wales. Wasn't really an area that was tested too much by England from the driving maul as much as I would have liked to have seen to have made that call this week. Yeah, so we'll go there. All backs for France. Yeah, I feel like I'm almost backing away from the idea of going for the French super sub and instead going for just the French backs, because I really do think they will crush. I mean, Antoine Dupont is I keep pressing that stupid button. Is another good one. Ramos, BWRE, Jalibert, and Jegu for you, says Gu. Yeah, Jegu's a good pick as well. I don't think a back row is a bad idea at all. Lorenzo said 100% going for the French super sub. A Dogbo is the super sub. Interesting. I think it's Burn and Pollock as the super sub options. Maybe a Dogbo as well. I'm inclined to lean here. I really liked it's George Ford or Jalibert. I think there for me. I've got a feel who they're not going to do. But also, who's going to play? Who's going to play for the full... Like, if you're France coming into this game, you're smashing this game. Wales should be looked at as the bonus point team this year. Again, I think you're not just there to win, you're there to get your bonus point. Once you secure your bonus point, you're looking ahead to future games, right? Are these boys staying on for the full 80? I imagine you would want to keep these lads safe, right? So they play 50, 60 minutes, you get your 4 tries, get out. But then who covers them? They've done a 6-2, so it makes me think the backs are going to stay on for a huge chunk of it. I think I've got to go Ramos and BLBRE. I might what if I just go crazy on the stars and I did a 4 French backs like that? I've got those extra stars this week, so that gives me a bit more leniency of being able to get more big picks in. I think any of these backs are great picks for France personally. Just imagine the 1,000,000 points possibility for the French sub. I know, but who though? Like if BLBRE was coming on from the bench like they're doing with Darcy Graham in Scotland, yeah. You're crushing that one. I don't really know who I would go for from that French bench. It's not... I would lean more towards Lamont to go for the driving maul. Baptiste Sarrat, maybe. Noah. Because Nucci came on and looked good for France, but again, I just like, is he going to come on and make a big? I don't know. I'm always starting to look at the Irish super sub this week for me, but I made terrible picks last week with these big risky decisions, and then didn't come back and win. So you know what, I'll do something wrong, no doubt, this week. Those are your French. Oh, okay, so we've gone for the same French picks. Interesting. Yeah, I feel like this will be a big. Atis Ogbe might not be a bad idea, just in terms of maybe a slightly cheaper winger. I just think BLBRE is going to be unstoppable. It's also one for me to think about that when we were watching that Wales game last week versus England, that it was Arundel's wing that got 3 tries. So Wales clearly haven't got that right wing secured. So up against BLBRE, he's going to get a hat-trick, isn't he? I just don't think. I don't think I can not have BLBRE in there. Issue with France is subbing. Yeah, it's just whether or not going to be the idea that they stay on for the full. I think the backs might. I think France are just not worried. I just don't think other teams I think would, for safety of the players. I think they would stay with it. So let's say that's France. Let's say that's France for now. What about Irish? Ireland this week making some picks that threw me off. Because I was inclined to look at Ty Burn this week, but he's moved to the bench. So I'm thinking, maybe not Ty Burn. If we go for the super sub, I'm not sure how much of an impact he'll make from the bench. Other wing could be looking at James Lowe. James Lowe is an interesting one in the fantasy world. For those of you who don't know, it's 100% fact and not a conspiracy by any means. James Lowe looks at my fantasy team, and anytime I've ever picked James Lowe, he specifically avoids the ball. It's a well-known fact. He just refuses to touch it because anytime I pick him, he scores almost 0. And if I don't pick him, he'll play really, really well. So I can basically single-handedly sack Ireland in one go by picking him in my own fantasy team. Whether we go for that. Was impressed by McCloskey, actually. Last week, I thought McCloskey carried hard. That could be one. What is McCloskey? Is he 10.7? I could maybe see a McCloskey. Ireland have gone for the 6-2 as well this week. Maybe they're sticking that with the forwards as well. I mean, like a Caelan Doris is never a bad move. Where is Isaac Chukwu? Is he down as a lock? Isaac Chukwu's down as a lock playing back row. That might be a call. An extra. Oh, I've not got it on screen. I hate that button. I'm gonna have to freeze that button. Isachukwu going in as a 7.9 star lock. Playing back row? Maybe an option. Lamont is a good choice. Yeah, I think it could be one. I think budget is less of an issue this week. French and English players this week, says Luke Pywalk. Luke Pywalk having a good week last week in the old Superbru. Got the injured Faye Weboso subbed off for 2 try-scorer Louis BLBRE and cheated and got better than me last week. How do you choose? You've got Louis BLBRE, Ramos, Freeman, Arundel, Liner, Lowe, Balakoon. Too many good options. Yeah, Balakoon's another one. Could be one as another cheaper winger option. The Freeman pick did come back to bite me last week. A few people mentioned Tommy Freeman last week. And I was like, I didn't want to lose my winger spot for a centre. It did not cross my mind that Freeman would move back to the wing. I really thought they would do Roebuck, Stewart, and Arundel. And if a winger got injured, Freddie Stewart would move to the wing and Marcus Smith would cover fullback. I didn't think about the idea, what if they took off a winger for no reason and then put what's his face? Freeman in on the wing and then move Ben Earl to centre. That didn't cross my mind. Speaking of Ben Earl, he's one that I almost always have in. Let me just chuck him in for now. I'll sort of build this up as we go along. Ben Earl, mega stars, just doesn't stop. Absolutely monstrous again. So I could see him going in there. Isachukwu is listed as a second row in your fantasy. Yeah, says Guya. I think that might be a good pick. Getting an extra back rower for Ireland versus Italy as well. I can see that being a decent little pick. So the music stopped on me for some reason. I say pick low, ready to watch another Italian win, says Charlie. Yeah, you're going for the MaD Dragon bad luck of picking low. The thing with James Lowe is that he either plays this immense attacking game where he's just fullback cover, where he just kicks a lot, and that doesn't necessarily net gain you points. Will he run? Will he score tries? Will he not? Will dropping him last week light a fire in him to score a hat-trick this week? Could be the one. Freeman, I don't think is a bad pick there this week as well. Nick Timoney, interesting. A couple of people have said Jameson Gibson Park as a super sub. I've not really ever considered the scrum half as a super sub. Very, very interesting. Yeah, Lowe's only back from injury, been quiet for club. Yeah, I'm not specifically going for James though. I don't think this week. What's supposed to be of Italy winning against Ireland? I would, if there was a year in recent memory. This could be a year. I still very heavily favouring Ireland for this one, but the Ireland team again is not as strong as it's been. It's certainly something that they could be looking a little bit questionable. And Italy are on fire. Italy might be like, you know what? Let's start smashing this one out. There was a fun stat that came out that Italy have won as many Six Nations games since the World Cup as Scotland. As many as them. So Italy might be thinking, you know what, we need to get to that 4th place, that 3rd place in the Six Nations. We need to get there. I still think France and England are better at the minute, but Italy, if they can beat Ireland, what a turnout that would be for them. And then Wales are doomed. So hey, that would be a solid 3rd. I like Nick Timoney. Yeah, interesting. A lot of tired eyes last week. Great last week. My back line's expensive this week. DuPont, Jolly Bear, Menoncello, Jones, Freeman, Louis. But yeah, maybe going for the backs heavy is good. I've still only got 2 Irish players. What else do we think Ireland-wise? Ireland versus Italy. I like the thing is that my Italian props did well for me. I still like the if I just to put my Italian boys back on, because I thought they did really well last week. I'm not convinced that actually going England wouldn't be better here, because that Scotland scrum was struggling. I think England might do very well for points in the forwards, but just I'm thinking about putting the Italian in this week as well. Outside centre. I've got all for France. Sheehan did not do what I wanted him to do last week. But against Italy, they might think 6-2 split driving maul. Maybe how we do it on stars. 75 feels generous at the minute. England maybe like Chesham. Itoje is starting this week, but does anyone rate Itoje? Anyone rate Itoje to be like blowing? I don't know. I don't know if I see that going there. No 25 video this today. No, I don't believe there's an update out for. I think the update's going to be out tomorrow, unless it's out already. You can let me know. Grobbler, I don't think it's out yet. I think I've seen out on the FAQ everything's for tomorrow. I think they're doing it. Dan should make a comeback. I think Ireland are going forward impact. Yeah, I'm thinking that Irish team with the 6-2 split as well. I'm leaning towards Ireland just being very forward heavy. James Lowe back from injury, might not get into it too much. I'm trying to even... Was Ringrose even that into it last week? I can't even think. What did Ringrose score last week? 12 points? That's not great. Yeah, Ringrose... Ringrose not necessarily my number one option. Balakoon, maybe Balakoon. Balakoon's always been one of those ones, again, fluctuates a lot for me, is doing nothing or actually has, very good games. Jamie Osborne. Is Jamie Osborne down as a centre? No, Jamie Osborne's down as... He is down as a winger in this game, is he? So let's have a look at an Irish super sub, because there's nothing else. Caelan Doris, maybe. Caelan Doris could be one. Who's on the bench? So Ronan Keller, Timoney, I think could be a good one. Jack Crowley. Maybe to come on late. I'm still surprised that Prendergast is getting started ahead of Crowley. I think Crowley's better. I would be starting Crowley, but they look at him as this weird sub. Yeah, Tyler's going in there saying Ringrose is quiet. Goose says, lol, Ringrose, yeah. Itoje will come off for Alex Coles, you think so? They seem to really rate Itoje. I'm not really sure on that one. How Marrow is starting confuses me. Coles and Chesham all the way. Jamie George is captain. He was excellent. Yeah, Jamie George is on the bench this week. Oh, Jamie George maybe could be an interesting super sub. Coming on for those late mauling tries. They've also done 6. Is 6-2 the meta now in rugby? Everyone's doing 6-2. Who did Itoje get started instead of? Coles, right? Yes. Yeah, I would have stuck with Ollie Chesham and Alex Coles. I could maybe see. What have I got? I've got 3 Irish there. I could see. I'm thinking more that maybe not though. What if I did Doris? You always want Caelan Doris though, right? Like, he's such a good number 8. I can see that getting on. What are we on stars wise? 59 to 60 between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positions. That's like 12 stars a position. We're not doing badly here. Round 1 doing okay is a good way to do. Who knew? Having a good fantasy in round 1 sets you up for a better tournament. Who would have ever guessed? Alistair says you're chucking Conan in at 8 for a trial for driving Maul. Oh, Conan, yeah. Wait, hang on. That's a good point. I just assumed Doris was starting at 8. Is he not then? Is Conan 8? Conan is 8. Ooh. What's the difference in points then between Conan and Doris? Oh, almost 3 stars. Do they? Do they really? I thought Doris was playing 8. So what do we reckon Ireland are doing? So Ireland have got Isachukwu, Doris, and Conan. They've almost got too many players, right? Is Conan playing the whole game, though? Like, looking at that. So Isachukwu can play second row as well, but you've also got Tyg Byrne, who can play second row and 6th. The versatility between second row and back row is huge for Ireland here. So who stays on? Because you want both Nick Timoney and Tyg Byrne to come on. So do you move... So James Ryan's coming off, I assume. So does Isaac go to lock? Does Tyke Burn come on at lock? Does Tyke Burn come on at 6 and Isaac move to lock? Does Kalen Doris move to 8? Is anyone else comfortable with 7? Does Nick Timoney play 7? I've got Nick Timoney down as a 6 or an 8. Can Nick Timoney do 7? I don't think of it as an open side, rather. Why is Burn on the bench? I assume just for late game impact. I assume given Joe McCarthy and James Ryan a chance to play the game and Ty Burn to come on later. See if it's worker. I think probably more for that overall coverage rate. But he plays both second row and 6, so you can chop and change depending on how the game's going. I'm assuming they're using a bit more versatility, but also injury avoidance. Probably your main second rower in this Irish team, so keep him on the bench, keeps him safe for a bit. Crowley to come on and save the day, says Doug. Yes, maybe. I don't think. I think maybe an Irish super sub is the way to go, but I'm not sure where that's how I'm going to end up going. Not the Scottish, so they can have 3 scrum halves in the 23. Conan in 8 is always his most effective position. I do agree with that. I do think they'll take Cormac off for Timoney. Maybe. Yeah, but then where do they all go? Timoney. You think Jack Conan... I don't know who covers 7, though. If you move Doris back to 8 for Jack Conan to come off, I don't know who covers 7, so maybe Jack Conan will. That might not be a bad one. I'll keep a Jack Conan in mind, I think. But I do agree. I think Jack Conan plays best at 8. I feel like I've said that in videos before, actually. Oh, that's just me. That's not anything. Right, so let's have a look at this team. I've done a lot of talking there and not actually made any picks. Welcome to the stream, guys. I'm really not back in Scotland for that game at all versus England. Normally the Calcutta Cup is such a close one, or I've even backed Scotland for it. I've got that game called right every single time on this channel's history, and it's been one that has always been the most controversial. I've backed Scotland, and people have said, no, England, and then I backed England like last year, and they won by a point, and it was like, and people were deleting comments that they said I was wrong because they were like, oh, he ended up being right. This one is the first year I'm like, I just think an outright England. I just don't think Scotland have that one. So I'm almost not thinking any Scottish players. Back row might be the only place I pick a Scottish player. Like another Dempsey just for the work. Dempsey was the MVP for me in that Scotland game last week. I've only got 1 English player still. I can afford to look at English backs, maybe. Look, Chesham had another good game though. If I just put Chesham in, if we just put Chesham in at the second row, just to see where we end up, because I think he had a very good game. We can't get Guillard this week, even though Guillard was immense. I do want Freeman. Well, now that I know the tactic, Freeman seems like a bit of a no-brainer. Freeman's playing the full 80 and is also the wing coverage as well. I think you need an England in the back. Yeah, maybe Freeman. Oh, there we go. Me and the news they're getting on. Say, why have you chosen McCloskey? I'm thinking just for the hard carrying. I mean, is anyone taking that shirt off him when in the subs department? Are they going to take him off? I feel like for the hard carrying 12, McCloskey might be one. I also like Menoncello. Breck's not playing this week for Italy. Let's have a look at the Italian team as well. Worth mentioning, because there's certainly picks there. Marine has moved to the inside centre with no Brecks. I don't know if I like that matchup there. Marine's gone to 12, Menoncello at 13, and I don't know about that one. I also thought Capuozzo was back from his injury. I thought he was recovered, but they've not picked him. So that could have been one. Lorenzo Pani starting. Louis Liner. I'm not getting involved that much with that Italian backs pack. Menoncello would be the standalone this week, I think, for me, is because he's busy. He's just busy with work. It would be Italian forwards if I'm going Italy. I'm not thinking an Italian super sub. I just don't see that. I don't see that paying off for me. So only maybe Menoncello would be the only one for Italy, personally. McCloskey was in there as a bit of a placeholder for just hard work carrying. They've done 6, and if you got in Ireland done a 6-2. So if you back your Irish forwards a lot, there's a chance they might all come off. I'm still thinking a super sub. What if I did do Kelleher? What are we doing here? Search filters. Keller to come on. Oh, he's actually not pricey, is he? Where's Kelleher? 11? Maybe? Driving maul tries? Guess it depends how much Dan Sheehan stays on. Is it a good idea to have double hookers in the same position for the same team? I don't know. Man, this is a weird week because it's just there's like an outright winner in France. There's an outright winner, but because you've only got 4 players, you're kind of struggling because I want to pick France in every position. You've gone Pollock as the Super Sub Bowl tournament. I don't think that's a bad move. Again, I think England could be good. Tom Curry, I expected to make a big impact as well. Jamie George, interesting because he's not starting this week, could be getting in there. Why Chester instead of a Toje when a Toje is likely going to be playing the whole game? I just don't rate a Toje that high. That's just a personal thing. I think he's had peaks and troughs in his thing. And there was a time where I think he was very good and got very highly rated and then fell off in performance, but because he was highly rated before, people still rated him really highly, and I felt like he'd really dropped off. And then I felt like he was overrated. And then maybe about a year ago, I think Toje started getting back up there a bit. And then he got chosen for the captain of the Lions tour. I think he did okay on the Lions. I think he did okay. But then, he came on for the bench last week, got yellow carded instantly. You're like, well, he's not that. I don't know. I think Ollie Chesham's a better lock in terms of what he offers for the team. But will he stay on for the whole game? Maybe, maybe not. I want a team of only France and England, to be honest, Connor. Yeah. I agree. I agree in almost all of that. I think almost any of these positions for France is great in the backs. Most will be good in the forwards. I think the English forwards will do really well. Zuliani, decent last weekend. Yeah, Zuliani. A couple of the Italian boys. Actually, we're really stepping up the forward pack. So Nicotera was good as well. Nicotera didn't really get a lot of praise last week. I thought he was busy. I'm glad Ferrari got... It's not often you see a tight end prop get man of the match. But I thought Zuliani did very, very well. Zuliani and Pepper are great budget back rowers who can always go through. And Pepper did well last week. And actually played a lot more than I expected him to. I expected him to come off really early. I just felt with the other names he might come off. That centre position's really annoying me. I don't know who there. Because I haven't got any France players left. I don't think Dingwall. I think that might end up being Menoncello. Because I don't even know who else to go. Oh no, not Scotland. Menoncello's 14.6. I don't even know who else. I don't know who else to put there this week. Ringrose McCloskey, yeah, okay. Freeman is playing is like a winger, so you have to select in there. I don't think Dingwall, and I've not got a French option. I don't think the Wales centre partnership's going to do anything. I don't like the idea of Marine, although I think Marine's back 3, so or is he a fly half? So I can't even pick him there. So it's only Menoncello, right? Yeah, could do Galton and Ford instead of Jalibert. That's maybe not a bad idea because Ford kicking. I think Ford will kick a lot in Scotland's game. It's more about the open play. I wasn't expecting Jalibert to score quite as high. Like he scored 52 points. The man didn't stop. I thought taking the kicks away from him would damage him, and I wasn't expecting that to score so highly. Whereas Ford. What did Ford end up with? Oh, he ended up with 55, to be fair. I don't see Ford making maybe as much ground against Scotland as he did against Wales and some of those other things, but certainly kicking. But yeah, maybe not. Yeah, if I was going to go for a French centre, it would be Galton. I don't know a lot about... what was the other guy's name? I actually don't know anything about him. Oh, it's got Italy still up. France? Where's France? Oh, go away. I want France. France. Brau Yuri. I don't know enough about him to go for him. Galton I rate highly. So I would be going for Galton over someone else. Maybe instead. The problem is just there's too many good French players. Is that you want France in every position. What are we working with stars wise? 22. 22 over 2 positions is good. Back row. I've used all my Irish so far. I've got one English player left. Is it worth Dempsey? Dempsey's 13. What would that leave me with for anyone in budget? Where's the within budget one? If I did that, brand, oh no, kills me off instantly. Okay, a little bit too far to go maybe with doing the Dempsey and Earl combo. What is everyone else saying? Guy Ringrose from McCloskey. Yeah, interesting. A lot of people not rated. What did McCloskey get? Am I just way off? I like McCloskey. He got 27 points last week. He doesn't stop carrying hard. I like McCloskey. Very interesting that a lot of people are saying Gary Rose over McCloskey. How do I get rid of this thing? What did Ringrose? Ringrose got 12 last week. McCloskey got 27. I like McCloskey. He carries hard. He carries hard, and he doesn't. He's doing a lot of work. Ford only 55 with man of the match. I mean, yeah, he did get man of the match as well. But who's your super sub options for this weekend? Asked Sam Hooker. I mean, I think there's a couple of French players. Most of the French players, I don't know. If you're going France, I think Lamont is a decent option to go because Julien Marchand never really plays the full 80 anymore. He doesn't really play 60 anymore. He sort of comes off at 50. So it gives Lamont a good amount of options to get on and then score a try. Thibaut Flamont's an outsider pick, I think, but mainly for speed. Just loose play, Wales dead. Thibaut Flamont allowed to run, maybe. And then maybe you're looking at Noah there for France. Ireland, a few people have mentioned Gibson Park, which did surprise me. Wouldn't have been my main option, but a few people mentioned him. I think Nick Timoney could come on. I think Ronan Keller could be good. Maybe even Jack Crowley. Henry Pollock again. I just think he's one of those people who just only does stuff off the bench. Tom Curry. Jamie George could be another one. Darcy, maybe not. I'm not massively blown away by that Scotland team. Italy, I don't know if I'd go for an Italian super sub. It's between those three for me. It's between England, Ireland, or France. And there will be a right way to do it, and I'm not going to pick it because it's me, and I'm never that lucky. Best scrum half apart from DuPont. Oh, well, I don't know. He's the only option, right? Who's got the nod for Ireland this week? Is it Craig Casey? Yes, Craig Casey at 9. Mitchell against Scotland, maybe not. I mean, there may be cause for Jamie Dobby again. Maybe, probably not. Just maybe could have done. Just to have another winger. I think DuPont will be busy against Wales. I don't think Wales are going to hold him down. I can see scores coming for DuPont. He'll be the main pick of everyone's this week for scrum half, and I think it will work out well. Wales will get hammered. Yep, I think so. I think DuPont is a must pick. Yep, so Hugh Jones will go in there as well. I think so. Timoney for super. A few people said Timoney. I like Timoney when he's been at club. Not that I do a lot of the fantasy league for club, but I think he plays very well. I've gone for Keller at the minute. May change, but a few people have said Timoney as well there. Tom, they're saying he thinks that 50 points to 10 to France. If it's 50-10, I'd be quite happy with that. I think this could be 70. I think this France team is gonna be monstrous. Any Italian back three? Not over other people. I don't think it's the worst option, but I don't think over other people. I cannot see many people picking Monty Ioane over Louis Bielbiaré. That would be a surprising pick, and if it paid off, great. You're away. Not one for me. You want 4 England, 4 France in your starter team. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I like the idea against Italy going for the Irish super sub, which would leave me with this one, which would be an English. Oh, sorry, that was Jack Dempsey still in there. If I want an English back rower, I think I'm leaning towards Pepper over Underhill because he had so many minutes on the field that I like that. I'm not going to go for an English. I don't see how I like Freeman. Now understanding the England game plan, I didn't give it enough credit last week of what the England game plan was to keep Freeman on for the full 80. I think Freeman's a definite in there. I don't like Dingwall at centre. Ford is an option. Ford could be an option to free up a French player to put in there. Maybe instead of Menoncello or McCloskey. Maybe could be an option. This music thing is really annoying me that it stops after every song. Just to have some generic background noise rather than just hear my own voice through the endless ether of the stream. If Tandy selects a team as bad as the previous one, we haven't even waited for the Wales team because I was never picking a Wales player in this team. Timoney is cheaper, giving you more for a flanker. Oh, Tired Eye's coming in there with an interesting mention there. Let's have a look at that as a concept. So let's go to back row. What did we say? So Kelleher was... There is Kelleher. Kelleher is 11.1. And Timoney, ooh, there's a decent point and a bit there. He did get 33. Now... Oh, he got 33 points from the bench as standard last week. Ooh. So if you had him as a super sub, you were well up near triple figures. Very interesting. Oh, hang on. The chat is convincing me here. The chat is talking me round. Maybe. And Ronan Keller got 4. And I do see Dan Sheehan playing a lot of this game. Interesting. And this is why chat is good. Because there are things here that I'm never going to profess to be... What have we done there? Never profess to be, the best in the world. I know every video on YouTube is the best team ever. That's not me. It's fun. It's meant to be fun. I enjoy other people's... I enjoy other people's, views on it because I certainly can be wrong about these things and was last week with my risky Scotland picks. It certainly didn't work out. Thoughts on Burn as a super sub? Asked Michael. I don't think a bad option by any means. He will come on and he does play hard. And if Italy have already, begun to drop off, he'll just get in. He'll carry the ball well. That lock department is an area where certainly, lineouts can be stolen. Ty Burn is one of those forwards who, if you've got to put money on a try for a forward, Ty Burn's never a bad option. So not a bad option. I do think there's maybe better options, but, Ty Burn could be there. Your captain is BLBRE. Do you think that's a good choice? I think you'll get a lot of try against Wales. Yeah, I think that's a good one there. DJ Duck. I haven't really thought about... captain's got to be French, right? I don't think it matters who. Almost. But yeah, at the minute, my eyes... Ramos paid off well for me last week as captain because he got all his kicking points. So BLBRE or Ramos, again, is where my eyes are too for this round for captain at the minute. So if we do Timoney, that frees up 12 stars... for a back row. And we need someone in budget. And somebody... Oh, not necessarily Ireland. I need just a player. Who does that give us? Jamie Ritchie, a man that can absolutely go for the breakdown. Tame Plumtree, who I don't think should be in an international shirt. Josh Bayliss, who's not playing. McLeod, Deeves... Alex Mann, Bradbury. The problem is I've locked myself into these other teams. So maybe an Italian back rower. What's Canone? Is Lorenzo Canone more than 12? I'm guessing there's no way he's down here with the 6s, right? So he must be more. I could see myself doing an Italian back rower. I could maybe a Scottish back rower. But I've lost myself out on points. So the other option is to look at maybe the Gaelton pick at centre. To go Gaelton at centre, I've got to drop someone else. Now, who do I think is going to do the least well out of 4 French immense players to put in? I don't know who I would get rid of if I wanted to do Gaelton. I don't think an English player there is an option for me. Scotland. How did Tui Pilotu get? I just don't think. Did any of the Scotland players do well last week? Did any of them score anything? Get rid of the budget thing. Jack Dempsey's 30. He's just too many. 13.4 for Hugh Jones. Tui Pilotu got 11. Just don't think any of these Scotland players. Oh, Darge got 22, but he's 12.5. If I'm going Darge at 12.5, I'm going to find that extra room to get me Dempsey. Oh, someone said that Garbisi for Jalibert. No, I can't do that. I did it last week and it was awful. I can't do the Garbisi play again. It didn't work for me at all. I think Tony's a good price wise. Surprised if he bags another try though. Yeah, I don't know if he'll get another try. I think an English super sub could be good there. I like the idea though of a cheaper super. That's what I used to do last year. I did lots of cheap super subs, and just to see if it paid off or not. And maybe that's the way to go. Sub 10 points for a player to come on. Where he will come on in that back row, I don't know. Bird might take 6, which sees Timony needing to move. I don't know where he'll go. I don't think that's a bad option. I don't see Sheehan coming off until later in that game. No, nor do I, which makes me think, why, if Kelleher's not going to come on, he's not a great super sub. Zammit should be 14. Josh Adams dropped. Josh Adams was the only one to score a try last week, wasn't he? I do think Josh Adams shouldn't necessarily be in that team anymore. I would maybe... Was it Josh Adams who scored the try? I think it was, right? Did David Jenkins still score 14 points, even with a... Did David Jenkins not get a yellow card last week? Or did he not get it? Oh, no, sorry. Who got the yellow card? Derry Lake and... Oh, who else got the yellow card? I thought you got a yellow card. That's my bad. I'd forgotten that. Very interesting that some of these Wales players actually did better than the Scottish players. And Zammit's not a great option, but like Thomas Williams got 20 meters carried, 9 tackles. I just don't know about. I just can't see Wales. You could put Jordan at centre play and fullback. Yeah, I know, but again, it was last round. It was all the same thoughts I had last round, and it was so bad. He scored 6 points. He just didn't do a lot. And I'm like, will he do the same thing this week? Will they have words that something needs to max out? England will definitely kick a lot, in this game, but whether that means he can suddenly, just start racking points up, I don't know. Jalibert, I like Jalibert. If I didn't have Jalibert, if I didn't have Chesham, and had Ford, Ford's more than Jalibert though. Just for the kicking points. Gives me 23. Dempsey or Lamar. Maybe Lamar or... what does it lock me out with? Benin, he scored 30. The boy played well last week. It was something that not a lot of people were talking about him. What does that leave us on? Oh wait, have I just lost a French player? Have I just made a terrible... That won't be in the video. Nope. Numbskull. That wasn't what we were doing. We were looking to do. We were looking to do. What's Guileton? Guileton must be cheap, right? 8.8. Freeze up. I'm just clicking buttons at this point. Could give me Conan off 8, leaving me with 12 within budget of anybody for Nicolo Canone. Sporadic, just placing people for the hell of it. To mix that up and have Guileton in there, it does lock my Irish forwards in against Italy, where, you know, maybe Ireland look to spread it out the backs. Maybe. And gives me my 4 French backs still. I don't like not having Jalibert, though. And this is the same thing I had with dropping forward last week. I thought it was a bad option. What did Garbisi score? Yeah, he didn't score well. Garbisi only scored 15, and almost all of that was points. Like his conversions and stuff, I think, right? 1 conversion, 2 penalties, so you get 3, 6. So 8 of his 15 points were from kicking those points towards post anyway. A little bit flip-flop. I'm not convinced by Garby, especially with seeing how they used him. It might change now that Brex isn't playing. That he might have to fill him. But Marine's playing 12 as your acting second distributor. I think Garbisi's passing. I don't know if Garbisi's attacking the line, which suddenly costs you all your meters made and your defenders beaten, which is something that I think he was doing well last year. I feel like Jalibert is not as consistent as some of the other French players. Is he more consistent than Guileton, though? Maybe. Guillard, very good pick for France, but went off early. Yeah, he plays hard, Guileton. He doesn't have the Guillard. Sorry. But yeah, the gas didn't seem to stick with him. Hard one, but dropped Dupont and put Jalibert in at 10. Yeah, weirdly Dupont. Everyone is a good option. My brain is saying you could drop Dupont. Out of all those 3, if I had Ramos, Bielbiari, and Jalibert, my brain is saying you could drop Dupont. But then if I drop Dupont, he scores 3 tries and 4 try assists by just one-off pop passes into a crash ball, Charles Olivon, and he gets over, and he just does that all game. And I'm like, this was a terrible decision. That's how it goes. Can you have McCarthy instead of the other second row? His more. Yeah, McCarthy. Isaac Chukwu is mainly because he's playing back row, so it gives you a 4th back rower for free, you know, in sort of air quotes. I certainly don't see him staying on for as long as McCarthy, but McCarthy does also give away a lot of penalties, and I always think that sort of comes back to bite you. He's also a man that I'm never convinced is not going to get carded in a game. Isaac Chukwu's, you know, not getting picked for the Ireland team a lot. I feel like he would be more disciplined. And that's sort of the reason why I've lent towards that. You either have Ben White or Tom Ramos. Yeah, either not the best team-wise. Ben White. If I was not picking Dupont, I would roll the dice again on Jamie Dobby. Just because it's funny. And, you know, playing on the... I think the logic is sound of having a winger that's down as a scrum half. You get a third winger. I have lost a winger here to Tommy Freeman, who's playing centre. I've effectively got 3 centres and 1 winger. But seeing that England game plan last week is, I imagine Freeman's ending up on the wing again anyway this week. So you sort of regain that. Having Jamie Dobby back in there to regain the French pick, to maybe have another French player somewhere else, whether that be Jalibert or a back rower. I don't think this is a bad back row, though. Ben Earl, Conan, Pepper, I quite like. I'm not very convinced by this lock department. Weirdly, I picked the best lock department of like the round, it felt like. Or it was on Superbru, it wasn't on this one. It's like Burn scored higher. I'm not convinced by this. I haven't even really looked at props. I just put them in and haven't revisited it. Because I like Danilo Fischetti for carrying the ball hard. Tight head prop? I don't know. He was busy last week. He scored 33 points. He did so well. I thought he had such a good game. Don't know about anyone else. To take the prop departments, can we have a look at prop from anywhere? Prop. There we go. Fischetti. Yeah, did anyone really do better than these boys? I can't imagine so. Ferrari was like a rare pick as well. Not many people went for Ferrari. Lothman got 14. Maybe. No, I'm not convinced by that. Oh, Macbeth is starting for Scotland as well, but I just see Scotland getting demolished in that scrum. I don't know. This is a weird week. Let's talk about captains then. Captain's got to be French, right? I honestly, I'm here. I'm at Ramos or BLBRE. That is a very, very set area for me. I think I'm still leaning towards Ramos. I can see tries coming here, but Ramos is kicking, and he will kick all the time. So those kicking points come off really well. He got 46 last week. Not technically as high as BLBRA, but he made so many meters and, you know, those outrageous tries. But, you know, he's just he scored 4 conversions, 1 penalty. Against Wales, I expect him to score 12 conversions. You know, I expect him to do a lot, so I think that's probably a good move. 9s don't score too high, and these says France's game isn't based too highly off 9 play. Burn as a super sub, can see him coming on in 25 to 30 minutes. Coming on to go and scoring high. Yeah, so interesting. So Michael's going for the Tyke Burn. A few people mentioned Tyke Burn as well, so I can see Tyke Burn being an option. What are the options for captain? And tell me why they are French. Well, there we go. That is it. Yeah, I think everyone is going to end up here. I would be very interested to know, is anyone not going for a French captain? Out of curiosity, anyone in the chat now thinking, no, I'm back in, I don't know, England versus Scotland, maybe back in Ireland versus Italy. I can maybe see people picking James Lowe if they're sort of newer to the game and big name. I can see that going. I don't know. Is anyone not picking a French captain this week? Oh, captained Earl. That's not a terrible move, but Earl was very, very busy last week. What did he score? 50 as well. And certainly a consistent back rower. It's not a bad move by any means. Ben White racks up points for kicking. What do the scrum halves rack up for kicking then? Do you mean off the... Oh, kicks recovered. They get the 5 kicks recovered. Interesting. So yeah, what, from all the box kicks recovery? I just don't have any faith in the Scotland team. It's so weird for me to be at that position. I've always just been such a big proponent, especially for the Calcutta Cup in Scotland. I feel like I should have 4 Scottish players. I just have no vibe about them for this one this week at all. Oh yeah, and Gruffalo says that you went for Earl as captain. I don't think that's too bad. Jalibert and Dupont, yeah, that's... I think Jalibert might be a very good pick there. I just don't know how to make that work. Because I don't know who I would have. Or would I move in England not for Ford? Ford is also going to get kicking points. I've got to remember that, right? Because it's not like the Superbru where you pick a kicker. In my head, I'm like, oh, Ramos is kicking for me. But actually, Ford is also kicking points. And against Scotland, they'll surely know taking 3 points at most available opportunities will be good early game. So that will also take points away for Ford. So even if Jalibert has a decent game around the park, Ford will also gain those kicking. Actually, you know, I've talked myself into the Ford pick over Jalibert. So if I'm not going Jalibert, I'm happy with Freeman, Ramos, Louis, BLBRE. I like Dupont because I think that's always just a good pick. Back row I'm happy with. Not so much about the lock department. My front row, I think, is okay. I'm now settled on Ford there. So, Menoncello and Gaelton. I think so. Maybe. I don't know. What do people think so far? So if they box and keep possession. So if they do a box kick and anybody on the team is able to get on the end of that ball, they get 2 points, which is interesting because, you know, Scotland loved kicking. That's why Thomas Williams gets... I understand this game. So that is why Thomas Williams scores 1 million points, is it? Because he just does this all day. That's all his points. Just to get in those kick, because Wales don't do anything other than kick. Right. I can see that. I think that's... It's not a bad concept for, like, scoring points. I just think it's kind of lax. I would like to know how it's judged. Like, take the France, the BLBRE try where Dupont chipped over the top, Ramos volleyed it, and then BLBRE scored the try. Is that kicks recovered? Is that Dupont's kick was recovered because Ramos got to the end of it first? Is that Ramos's kick recovered because BLBRE got it? Is it Dupont's because France got the try? I feel like that's quite a loose scoring. Obviously, it doesn't matter, immensely in the frame of things, but I would just like to know what that means. That one needs a little bit more of a breakdown. Maybe Freeman or Ford as captain, said Doug. Interesting. A couple of England picks. I think if it was against Wales again, I think it would be a good move to go. I'm going with Ramos. I'm confident in Ramos. What else? A Scotland game plan is to box kick, especially with Stain. Best stats in Europe at keeping possession off the box. So that, yeah. So maybe that's So actually, a lot of people say maybe the Ben White option is a good pick there. So that is one for other people. I'm not going to go Ben White, but that might be one for you guys, because obviously Ben White will be cheaper than to Dupont. So I think that's probably a good move. Gio Moore, hey MaD Dragon, how are you doing, buddy? So is it worth $20? Got an offer for what? I do not see a previous comment from you, Snazzy, to know what is meant to be worth $20. If they keep possession after the 9 kicks, that counts. So any kick is okay. So I can see that. I'm still going Dupont. I think Dupont's locked in for me there. Lorenzo saying, comparing your team to my team is starting to doubt yourself. I don't do that. Never doubt yourself when looking at my team. My team is certainly... no, it's good. Sam Ross asking Super. So at the minute, we've got Nick Timoney. A cheaper option. I originally was Kelleher. But people raised very good points that Dan Sheehan's probably playing a lot of minutes in this game. They want to secure that win. Six Nations on the line, maybe on this game, to not take big points away from this game. So Dan Sheehan's probably playing a lot of it. So Kelleher not coming on till later. And then Nick Timoney did well off the bench last week. So maybe you can double down again, but also a cheaper option. So at the minute, Nick Timoney holding that position for me. I feel like I like most of these positions. The only area where I'm questioning myself is this lock department, because it's not the players I would go for. Obviously, I would want a French player in there, but we've used all the French players. And then I would like an English player in there, but I've used all my English players. I've still got 1.6 hours. Let me just have a quick look at Lorenzo Canone and what that offers me. Because having the Italian number 8, he's a beast. 14. What does that allow me to have English locks-wise? Is that anyone? No. I'm never going to get that lucky for that to work itself out. So if I have another good round next week, or this week, I can gain those stars. I can hoard all of the stars, and I can go back up again. I think it's worth having Jalibert instead of Dupont. Yeah, it's such a. Either way, I'm going to be wrong. It doesn't matter. If I pick Jalibert, he's going to come off at 10 minutes. That's how it works. If you've been with the channel long enough, it always goes wrong. Snazzy asking, has anyone played the Rugby 25 after the new update? I'm considering buying it for $20. I'm skeptical as I'm wanting to know if it's worth it. I haven't played the update, Snazzy. I thought I read on the FAQ page it was out tomorrow. I feel like I read that about 4 times. Friday's update. So I don't know why it's suddenly out now. I'll be playing it tomorrow, and we can have a bit of a look at it. $20 it's an awkward price. People have asked me before about Rugby 22. Of like, is it worth £5? Like, yes, I think it is worth £5. It is good. The game has flip-flopped a lot. I would want to play that update to see. I don't think $20. What's $20? Like £17? Maybe not. Maybe not for £70. That might not be a too bad of a deal by any means. Depends what you want to get out of it. I want to see that update and see how it implements. Because it can go real wrong. So we worked out the Lorenzo Canone thing doesn't work. So let's go back to the Pepper and other Canone. Nicolo Canone. Zambonin also is in there. Interesting. Actually, hang on. There's a double choice here. And Nicolo actually outperformed Zambonin last week. I like Zambonin as a player. That might be a swap there. I like Nicolo Canone. I like both those. Who would you go for, guys? What's the thoughts? Canone or Zambonin at that lock department? I don't know. Thoughts on Craig Casey? Used up all French and English players. 9 is probably an area where I think Dupont is a weird outlier at 9. He's the only 9 I feel like that ever scores highly, but against Wales specifically, I've gone for Dupont. I might be in the minority of players through this tournament that doesn't have Dupont at 9 very often. Against Wales, I see it being a thing. Craig Casey starting, probably not bad. I can see Craig Casey just doing his thing, as opposed to being the person that changes the game in that one for me. I think that's a good point. Oh yeah, Lorenzo got a good point there. We'll do some polls. Yes, we do some polls. We'll do some polls because it's fun to get people involved with. I'm kind of happy with this team. And I feel like I shouldn't be. Something's telling me don't be happy with this team yet. But we'll let's do some polls. What people thinks, and we'll have a look at it as well. Either Gregor Brown or Canone at lock with Azuchu says Michael. Yeah, I like both Canone and Zambonin. It's interesting that I think Canone's more consistent, but I do like Zambonin as a player. Gregor Brown, fantasy point. Gregor Brown is a fantasy points merchant. Is he really? Why? There's Gregor Brown. You got 14 points. Attacking scrum wins. Why did he score? Those stats don't look like they deserve to be 14 points. Given what other players scored. That was 14 points. Four attacking scrum wins. What did like Scott Cummings get though? 5-4. What's the difference? Why was he so much better? Just the line-out steal? Meters carried 6 compared to Scott Cummings. Made 0 meters. Did he have the ball? Defensive machine. So that 1 line-out steal and 6 meters made with the ball is equivalency to 5 points in this fantasy. Very, very interesting. I'm surprised by that thing. Right, let's do some polls. Let's do some polls to get people's views. So we've got the games coming up this week. Let me chuck them up on the side here for everyone to take a look at. Ireland versus Italy then will be the first one. Let us start a poll and see what people think. Now, this is one in previous years where I would have said Ireland all day long. The Ireland team is not where I feel like they could be. Italy have also lost options. So who do you guys think is going to win? Ireland or Italy? We'll also have a look at the teams as well here. So Ireland coming out with, Jeremy Loughlin getting the nod alongside of Clarkson. That's starting. The Italian scrum looked good. And I was surprised to see that because, you look at like a Tom O'Toole and Tyg Furlong. Interesting. Clarkson's not a bad scrummager. Tyg Furlong was certainly at one point would have been your main tight head. Maybe in the world. Tom Clarkson does okay, though. Byrne moved to the bench in that lock department, is a big call. Isaac Chukwu getting the starts at 6, I think would have surprised a lot of people, including myself. Jack Conan not at 6, and Caelan Doris moving to 7 to swap around that back row. Craig Casey at 9 over Jameson Gibson Park. Sam Prendergast getting the nod as well at 10 over Jack Crowley. And Sam Prendergast. Sam Prendergast was one last week who I felt bad for him because things just seemed to be going wrong and not all of them felt like they were his fault. Like that, he carried the ball over his own try line. And he's going to get roasted online for it. But there's nothing he can do. He's running back towards his own try line. Someone hands him the ball. He's like, ah, damn, he's just run over his own. And it went wrong for him. James Lowe coming back off his injury. And I don't know if I see him, making that game. I think I see him as the back coverage and clearing the kicking ball. McCloskey carrying hard. Ringrose felt quiet last week. Balakoon starting on that right wing will just be one to keep an eye out for. And then Jamie Osborne at 15. And Jamie Osborne didn't blow me away either. So that Ireland team is not, the ferocious, formidable team that in previous years I've named for a Grand Slam. The Italian team, on the other hand, front row looks solid. Fischetti, Nicotero, Ferrari, Cannone and Zamboni, who, that's two good locks as well. Lamaro, Zuliani and Cannone. Strong back row, no need to chop and change. Alessandro Fusco at 9. Maybe you could look at other scrum halves in there. Paolo Garbisi doesn't seem to be used as the attacking 10 anymore. He's that distributor player. Marine coming in at 12, I think, is a blow. It's a blow to not have Brex, right? The Brex-Menoncello combo is big. Having Marine going in at 12 and Menoncello in at 13, also feel like, and in fact, that's another reason I'm sticking with Menoncello for this official fantasy one, because the outside centre department for Menoncello just to get on that outside shoulder and run, I think might be better for him. Marine's going to be acting as a secondary distributor, right? And then Monty Ioane, Lina Pan. I'm not 100% sure on that one. It's not the Irish team that I felt like. We'll give it another 5 seconds to think. I'm still personally leaning towards Ireland because they are playing at home and it is the home advantage. And losing to France, they will know that their Six Nations on the line. If they don't put in a big performance, we'll end the poll and we'll see where we end up. Is it going to show on my chat or is it not going to show on my chat? Have we still... This chat, I hate it. Oh, it doesn't even show the polls in the thing. Why does it not do that? I wanted it to be on screen. Well, you suck. Final results for the polls, and 54% said Ireland, 46 Italy. That was very, very similar results to what people said about Scotland, Italy last week. That is not something we would expect, going from previous years. Certainly, favourite would have been Ireland by a long, long way, especially at home. I personally am still saying Ireland. I wonder what points-wise I would say for Ireland. I think Ireland might still take it by double figures. I still think they might. I think they'll get past 10. I'm not, yeah, but it's not as much as I think as what we've had before. Let's do the next game then. We've got the Calcutta Cup. Oh boy, this is such a weird one this year. From a game that has been literally down to 1 point in the past and been right up to it. What do we think for Scotland versus England? This is a one-way ticket for me in my head. I won't say it out loud. I don't want to influence the poll with my mighty rugby knowledge that gets proven wrong almost instantly by Italy beating Scotland. True Side's going in saying who's the best super sub? Quite a few options for super sub. I would say look at your France team, look at your Irish teams, look at your England. I think your Pollock, your Currys are in there. We've gone for Nick Timoney. I think Lamont for France could be good. A few people have said Gibson Park as well. Very, very interesting that so many people actually mentioned Gibson Park, because not necessarily one I was thinking about. That poll has gone one way and stopped dead very quickly. So I'm guessing people have got a very one-sided decision on that. I've noticed it's not 100% one team or another. I wonder if Connor Does Rugby is still in here, that he's still got a bit of confidence just to sway the percentage points a little bit, Connor. Just to try and go that way. It's normally the only thing actually that's ever let Connor down when he's done the Superbru Predictor that we have on the channel here. It's normally the only ones Connor gets wrong. It was a little bit too much faith maybe in that Scotland team. Right, we'll end that one off. And we'll see where we're at. But I thought that was going to go. So, Scotland versus England. The votes coming in for this one then. 87% have gone for England. 13% have said for Scotland. I'll have to put the votes up on the tabs page as well on the channel. I normally do. I normally have done it by now. I completely forgot. Where is the thing here? Go to my channel. Let me load it up for you guys. Is my thumbnail fixed itself as well? By the way, it's only taken all this time. Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know about it. Oh, I've accidentally clicked the wrong button again. Of course, I have. What are we doing here? YouTube, work with me. What are we doing? What are we doing? It's not going back to the thing. There we go. Right, that one, and then this one. YouTube, work with me. Right, yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know, on the channel, we do have this this posts bit, which is on the channel, which we do. We also do all the polls and stuff in here as well, which is how people see the, you know, this is you know, obviously gets a lot more votes because people are not able to tune in time for the stream and get involved. This is where it is. These have been very interesting. You know, this was a big one last week. You know, who's going to win Game 2 of the Six Nations? Scotland was so heavily favorited in that one. And yet, you know, that's how it turned out. So they've gone for 87% for England. Let's do our final game then, which is, you know, it could be a close one. Could be a close one. I'm expecting real, you know, 50-50 outcomes here. You know, could go either way. Let me do France versus Wales. What do we think? Could be, you know, could really go either way. It could be a huge, you know, huge score to either team. 30-0 either way. It's certainly on the cards. Oh man, I feel like I could even change this poll to be like, how much do we think one team is going to win by? At this point, it is rough. Man, it's actually not 100%. Someone's been very friendly in. I've seen Luke Bywalker there. Yes, dare I vote Wales? Yes. Yep, gotta go for those Wales picks. Always big. Very interesting. Is anyone picking a Wales player at all in the official fantasy? By the way, I was very surprised to see that actually a couple of the Wales players actually scored okay, because the point scoring system in the official one is much more lenient for a team that does lose. You know. Adam Beard got 14. David Jenkins got 12. Can I just do any position? I don't want second roster. I want like any position. You know, Zammit 21. Aaron Wainwright got 24. Thomas Williams got 20. You know, Dan Edwards got 17. That was more than Jordan got for me. Going for Wales players is not always the worst thing in the world. Apparently Scotland is. I'm sorry, Connor, if you're still here. I'm being mean to him. Yeah, we'll end the final poll, and yeah, this one went the way I think we expected here. France 94%, 6% Wales. Somebody had the faith that Wales can do something. Yeah, it's not one that I saw going any other way. I think that might be the biggest win. I don't. What is the biggest Six Nations win ever? I wonder what it is. Is that just an answer I could get? Wow, all the money and things in the world are being pumped into AI, and that doesn't just give me a straight answer from Google AI. What is the biggest, highest? What should I put? Highest scoring win. Highest scoring win. It's going to give me both teams. England won 80 points to 23 in a game. That's only a 57 points difference. Highest points difference win in the nations. I don't know. I can't seem to find a direct answer. I think this game. Oh no, it won't do. There is a points difference of 167. Oh, across the tournament. Oh, why is Google useless? Why do the answers not work anymore? I've got the highest points difference in a single match. I'm getting so into the weeds here with desperately trying to find thinner and thinner lines. So the biggest one it always comes back to was there was an 80 points win to 23 in Twickenham. That says the biggest one. But that's still only a 57 points difference. I think this can be more. I think we're on the cards here for maybe the biggest points difference win ever, as long as France play properly for the full 80. I can see them playing like 50, 60 minutes, being 40-0 up and just like going, we better do some defense testing because it's Sean Edwards, and being like, give Wales the ball and let's see if we can keep them to 0 and it not actually be about attacking. Luke Bywogs also said, 57 points was the largest difference. I'm surprised by that. I feel like there would be a larger game. I think France could be killing it. Right, so this is... Am I happy with this team? I feel like this might be the team I'm going with. Not as happy as I was last week, weirdly. And I don't even necessarily know why. I'm wondering whether Gaëtan is the right way to go, still in that French team, or whether I have Jalibert. But I don't want to do the swap for Jalibert and Dingwall. I don't see him do it. Whereas I see, like, a French outside centre. I think he's playing outside centre, not... Because I think... what's his face? The double barrel surname, Brow guy. Yeah, he's playing. So he's also playing outside centre at 13. I don't see anyone else wanting to cover him. Is anyone going for Atasogbe? Maybe. Maybe Atasogbe could do. He still scored well last week. I think this is what we're going to go with. I think this could be my round 2. So, with filling in those final positions. Oh, do I go? No, you know what? Nope. I'm backing out of it. I want my consistency. I want to put in Lorenzo Canone. There is free space. Go away. Let me put it in. I want to put Nicolo Canone in. Sorry. I like Zamboni. I think Nicolo Canone is a higher. Just on average, he puts in a better performance on average than Zamboni. So I'm gonna lean towards Canone. I think I'm going to go with it. So let us round off then with the final team preview then for round 2. Where have we ended up? Starting then in this back 3. Tommy Freeman, Thomas Ramos, and Louis Biel-Biarré. I think try scoring all day with the left winger. I would be surprised if anyone doesn't have him in a team this week. I've gone for Ramos as captain, mainly because as well as those meters made in that full-back position, we know how well this back 3 links up for France. Kicking points for Ramos are probably going to be huge against Wales. I'm going for an almighty win by France over Wales. Therefore, points will be kicked for days by Ramos. Making him captain gives me double points for all those kicking points as well. So, although Louis Biel-Biarré outscored him last week, and maybe even outscored him this week, I just think for safety net, I'm guaranteed good points with Ramos again. So I'm going for captain once again for Ramos. Tommy Freeman comes in on my right wing. Even though playing centre again against Scotland, I've seen now the vision of the England team that basically Tommy Freeman is playing that full 80 as long as he stays away from injuries. And also they're going to look to Ben Earl to cover that centre department, meaning Tommy Freeman could easily end up on that wing again if there's injuries or what have you. And Finn Smith also Finn Smith on the bench for this game with no Marcus Smith means that full-back position opens up a little bit more, meaning that, if there's an injury to Stewart, might be that someone else has to switch back to fullback, meaning that Freeman moves out onto the wing as well. I think there's a good chance Tommy Freeman moves out onto the wing, but also has a good amount of possession with the ball in hand versus Scotland as well. Moving ahead then to our centre department. Menoncello played very well last week. Moved to the outside centre with Brex out this week. Playing on the outside of Marine, who I think is going to act as a second distributor with the ball in hand as opposed to an attacking 12. Means that I'm probably going to be expecting to see Menoncello end up on the outside shoulder of defenders a little bit more. And therefore hopefully making those meters get over for those tries. Going to lean for the Menoncello game this week. Emmanuel Gaëtan comes in for the total change in the centre partnership for France this week. Double change alongside of his new inside centre partner. I like Gaëtan. He's a guy I feel like you can always kind of depend on to get tries as well. I feel like there's a good option there for him to get over for a try. But again, those meters made and being able to utilise with the other back, being able to interlink with those backs, Louis Biel-Biarré and Ramos, they've played together before. They scored tries together. I I'm going to go with that as my outside centre pick there as well. In the halfback combo, then, a much bigger halfback combo than what I had last week with my picks that did not work well for me. George Ford in at 10. This has been a big controversy between him and going for Jalibert, because Jalibert is very, very high scoring. George Ford getting those kicking points against Scotland. I think England won't take as many risks in that first half like they did against Wales. They'll much more depend on going for those 3 points. So George Ford doing that, as well as the way he's been playing has been very, very good. So I can see George Ford's put in another good performance, going for a 10, as well as getting those kicking points. Antoine Dupont at scrum half, best scrum half, in this tournament, and I can just see the big points coming his way. Let's move on then to the back row. Guy Pepper, Ben Earl, and Jack Conan. Jack Conan getting the nod at 8 this week, with Caelan Doris moving to the 7 shirt. So off the back of scrums and maybe being looked at that 6 coverage, with Isaac Chukwu coming in for the 6, and whether they're going to chop and change, how they're going to move around those back row players, not sure. I think Jack Conan's got a lot of options now to run with the ball in hand over Doris. A slightly cheaper pick as well going in there. Ben Earl, always Mr. Super consistent, high-scoring player, worth going for that man as well. And then we're going in for Guy Pepper this week. Impressed me, actually, last round, and stayed on the field a lot longer than I expected him to. So I can see him putting in another solid performance up against Scottish forwards, carrying the ball hard, big tackles, but also, the outfield play is good for him as well. Lock department, total switch up this week from a gold star team that I had last round. Isaac Chukwu coming in the lock department, playing in the 6 shirt, so an out of position player for this round. So it gives me another back row player for Ireland up against Italy, maybe at the expense of not having as many line-out steals, but a cheaper option as well, as allow me to move that budget to other positions. And then Nicolo Canone, this has been very much between him and Zambonin getting in there. Again, 2 very, very hard-carrying players. Just thinking that Canone is a bit more consistent for me to get those average points to be relatively high compared to Zambonin, who can sometimes have a little bit of fluctuation there. And then in that front row, no change from last week. We've gone back to the tried and tested. Not that Dan Sheehan had a particularly good round last week. Simone Ferrari got man of the match last week, and you know what? I think he can put another solid performance in again. Danilo Fischetti, always one of the hardest carrying loose heads in the game. Probably either go for him or Genge, really, when you think about the loose heads that carry the ball. Dan Sheehan this week looking to maybe try and prove himself a bit more. Not a great option last week, so I'm hoping maybe has a bit more minutes on the field this week. Maybe goes to those driving more tries. Ireland with the loss, got to try and get the win this week, so maybe just going for the tried and tested method of Dan Sheehan driving more tries. I can see that being a good option there. And then our super sub Nick Timoney coming in. I fluctuated a bit here between Keller and Nick Timoney coming in there, but the chat has convinced me. Nick Timoney coming on for the bench, got 33 points last week, so it would have been enormous if you made him a super sub last week. Not necessarily expecting him to get a try this week, but a cheaper option than Kelleher, and with expecting that Dan Sheehan will stay on the field for a long time, it's probably worth having a slightly different option than Kelleher going on there. Think other good options are looking at your French bench or your English bench. I don't think Pollock is a terrible choice again. Tom Curry going in there, or you could even look at that French bench with a guaranteed win against Wales. I don't know, could be the option there, but Nick Timoney will step in there for me, and we will hopefully see that seal us out for round 2. Hope you've all enjoyed the team build for round 2, guys. We'll end the video there. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye. Right, I can put that video to edit now. I'll put that out tomorrow, though. I've also got the Rugby 25, apparently, to do a video tomorrow. We might have 2 videos tomorrow. Right, let's. I'll be ending the stream about 6, but we can do a little bit more chats. Anything else people want to talk about? We got our captains. Who else people going for captains? Who have you gone for your super subs? Anyone willing to drop it down in the chat that hasn't already and wants to show off? Anyone gone for an outsider pick as well? Is there anyone who's gone for Guilton as a captain? Something that actually not many people picking the player, let alone actually looking at going for the captaincy. I think that could be a fun one to discuss. Dylan comes in. I have to say I really like Chukwu as an option. Cheap. I think he's really get some good points. My concern is him getting replaced in the second half. Yeah, I think that's a risky choice out of all the players I've got here. A lot of these are very, very big names, across their respective teams, and I think we'll all have good games. Main risks is probably a Chukwu there, just because of the idea of that he could come off very early. The Irish bench is loaded. They've almost got too many players in fighting for the same position, in my opinion anyway. Like, you've got, I don't know a lot about a dog bow. Other people might be able to drop down that on the in the chat about a dog bow. So a couple people mentioned him before. I don't know enough about him to be able to comment on there. But Tyg Burn, capable of playing lock or 6. And then you've got McCarthy and James Ryan are in there as your lock department. Isaac-Chukwu is a standard lock. So will he move to lock? Will Tyg Burn cover lock? Will Tyg Burn come on at 6 and just be a direct sub? You've got Nick Timoney. Nick Timoney's got to come on somewhere in that back row. Who does he come on for? Does he come on for Isaac-Chukwu? Does Conan move to 6? Does Timoney go to 8? There's a lot of ways to lose Isaac-Chukwu. It's going to be a lot of hoping that he has a good first half. I'm going to say, if he stays on, there may always be the option that they play the first half and he does okay, and then second half happens. Tyg Burn comes on at 6, James Ryan comes off, and Isaac-Chukwu moves into lock, and suddenly he's on for the full 80. And hey, then you're rolling in it. Then you've made a really good decision for a cheap option. But do I see that happening? Maybe not. I think he's probably the biggest risk on my team. You know, I haven't really taken... Last week was the risky week. It was quite fun to do a bit of that. This is much more big names in most positions. Maybe Timoney's could be classed as a bit of a risk as well. Not guaranteed to come on and have a great game. I think maybe the English players or a French player is more likely to do well. But, you know, he has another good game. It can go well for us there. Never write off Pollock. Absolutely never write off Pollock. He should have got a try last week. He should have been brilliant. I should be able to brag about what my great pick was last week, but not to be. Did you see anything about Rugby 25? I love the fact that that attribute weightings have been changed to players. Yeah, a lot of people mentioned the Rugby 25. I didn't know it was out today. I thought it was tomorrow. I even saw it on the FAQ page, Friday update. So, yeah, I'll do a video on it tomorrow. That'll be a task for me to do tomorrow, as well as I'll edit this down, put this one to go out tomorrow, so it can be in the background for people who haven't managed to catch the stream. But also I'll do a Rugby 25 video, or I could put the Rugby 25 video on Saturday. I don't know. It's a bit awkward because people are. We have the actual Six Nations on. They've put this update out at a very weird time on a Thursday. They always did Wednesdays. They've thrown me off a bit with it. Lorenzo just said, I just noticed that some of my choices are not playing. Now I don't know who to choose. I really want Caelan Doris on my back row. Who is not playing? Yeah, this is something I've always done when doing these videos. I probably would do not doing the videos. Is every week I just destroy the whole team on the official one, unless you're talking about the Superbru one. And then I rebuild it from scratch with however many stars I have in my budget. What did we end up with, by the way? 1.6 stars. That's not terrible. That's basically what we gained. Oh, no, actually, we gained like 11 stars last week. So, hopefully... I mean, I'm expecting all of these French players to go up in points. I've got to imagine England win that game. So, you know, the only options that might go down in points might be the Italian, because I really think Ireland could do well against Italy as well. So hopefully we get a bit more budget to play around with. I do think... What does everyone think of the budget? In fact, you know what? I'll do that as a final poll to see us off with. Thoughts on player cost, like rising? I don't know what to call it. So this is something that I think is probably it's very personal to you. Let me do good or bad. So I'll put up the poll and then I'll explain what I mean by this. So with the official fantasy, you have these. Every player has their star points, right? And you have a budget. Every week, if a player does well in real life, not only do their stars go up to cost more, but if a player played badly or didn't score well, their stars go down. Now, it makes sense, and if you put it on paper, I can absolutely understand why they've done it that way. I personally think there's a bit of an issue with, if you had a bad round 1, it's really hard to recover from, or even if you had a bad round 1 and 2, it's very hard to recover from those bad rounds, because not only have your stars gone down overall because your players didn't do well, so they became worth less. The players that did well, and normally players that do well across the tournament, have also gone up in price, therefore basically costing you out of the of the being able to pick the good players in later rounds. So if you have a bad round 1 and 2, by round 5 you're really struggling to gain the stars, compared to someone who had a really good round 1 and 2 can afford to have an even better team by round 5. And I've always thought that was a potential issue in that, but I think I'm in a very big minority on that, because a lot of people seem to really like it. The poll says otherwise. The poll is absolutely disagreeing with me here. We'll end the poll. It seems to be a pretty straight up 100% good. All right, I'm wrong. There you are. Welcome to YouTube. Yeah, a lot of people seem to really like it. I can see people losing interest in the fantasy by like round 3 if you have 2 bad rounds, and then being like, oh, I can't afford to have Ramos, BLBRE, Freeman, and Menoncello because I can't afford the rest of my players because I don't have enough stars. Whereas if you had a really good round 1 or 2, you suddenly have a way bigger budget, and you can just load up loads of really good players, and you're the better you do, the better you can do. It's like a snowball effect, and I wonder whether that's completely fair. But hey, I'm apparently wrong. That is how it works on the world of YouTube. Right, we'll finish off with some final chats. We're almost at 6 o'clock. I've still got to sort out my Superbru at some point. That'll be tomorrow's job. I can think about that at some other point. Flamon from the bench. Good. Another person asking about Thibaut. I think Thibaut Flamon can also do well from the bench. Fast player. He's good anyway as a player. Can absolutely come on and score points. You know, I do think Lamont could be a better pick for France because Julien Marchand's probably not playing more than 50 minutes, so he'll have more time on the field. But then saying that Guillard came off early last week, so Thibaut Flamont might come on and have a big impact as well. Timony to come on for Conan, I guess, and Doris got Doris to 8. Byrne gives them a lot of options. Yeah, I don't really know how they're going to do it. I don't know where they'll want to put Timony, because I think Timony's quite universal, right, for back row. I think he can do all the back row. So they've got a lot of versatility in that Irish back row. It doesn't make it easy for fantasy, because I don't know who's going to go where. Maxime Lamont, yeah, we have spoken about him. He's absolutely one for the picks. What did I say he was before? Seven appearances from the bench, 3 tries. So 50% strike rate to get on there as well. SO8 asks, why not Doris, not Conan? Or why not Doris, and why have I gone for Conan? Mainly because Conan started at 8. I kind of want the Irish 8. And Doris has moved to 7. So off the back of scrums and stuff, Conan's running with it. And there's Conan might slip to 6. I also don't know if we even have the budget. Let me just have a quick look. I actually don't know if we do have the budget for Doris. No. Why does it not do that? Give me this position. No, we literally don't have the budget for Doris, based on the rest of the team. So in goes Conan, and that is where we're at. Double answer there for me. Darge could be another option. The only thing is, it'd be a lot of breakdown work. I'd be going for the England players over Scotland this week for me. Why not Captain Louis BLBRE? Yeah, I think a good option, a captain. Honestly, I think you can basically pick a French player and have fun with it. I think Jalibert could be one. I think Dupont could be one. BLBRE may absolutely go on to score tries. The only thing that I think with BLBRE, which has never been proven right, so, what do I know, is that when you've got someone like BLBRE on the wing, wouldn't your defensive coach meeting for Wales be, just mark him? Just put 3 players on. Forget the other wing. Just mark this guy. And I always got that worry that if you make him captain, that'll be the week that he can't make it through a defense because you swarm him. Nobody ever does, and it doesn't happen. I've thought about that about a few players in the past where I've gone, why don't they just overmark? Even if it goes wrong even if Atta Sogbe scores a hat-trick, at least BLBRE didn't do anything. But they never do that. That's not how rugby works. But I don't think Luobi is a bad pick at all. I've gone for Ramos because he's going to kick, and you get double points for all his kicks. And France are going to score a lot of points. So more points equals more kicks. I don't know what the weather's meant to be in Cardiff, but if it could be a little bit drizzly, but they can also close the roof. So, I think kicks are going to be aplenty. So Ramos is a safety captain. BLBRE has the chance to shoot for the moon. So however you want to play that one. Jonathan, you have Timony a super sub. Yeah, I've gone for Timony too. Interesting that a few people have gone for Timony as well. I actually thought a lot of people would go for French subs. Is actually where I thought that this one would go. Interesting, a lot of people have not gone that way. It's going to be wet in Cardiff, yeah, but you never know in Cardiff because they can just close the roof the day before and then it's not wet, and you never really know. You don't know what they're going to do with it. I don't know if they've put out an official thing of what they want to do with the roof. Dylan said, yeah, be careful with Ford. With Finn Smith, he will not play 80 minutes. Yeah, it's, Jalibert is there as a good pick as well. Ford is definitely kicking for a good chunk of that game. Ford might come off at 60, but I think for that entire first half, England will kick the points because it's Scotland. Scotland lost to Italy, and a lot of people have just outright written them off as being able to do anything. Scotland can win this game. They absolutely can. England will know Scotland can win this game. It is not worth taking the risk. If you get 3 points in the Scotland half, take the kick. So I think Ford will do an awful lot of kicking. And then that second half, as if Scotland are dying off, is where it might open up a bit. But yeah, that one, yeah. Jalibert or Ford, I think is good. I mean, we haven't even discussed Sam Prendergast in there. Against Italy, he will be kicking. He will be running. Sam Prendergast might be a bit of a one there. Down there. How many points did I get last week? I got 495. I'm 89th in the group. Mainly because Henry Pollock's try didn't count. That should have been a 60-point player. And then Scotland. Apart from Dempsey. Dempsey had a great game. So I got together with him, Dempsey. Scotland across the board let me down. But yeah, 495 for me last week. Which is not too bad, actually. I want to finish in the top 100 in my own league. I don't know how many hundreds of people we have, but if I can get in the top 100, I'd be pretty happy with that. You'd go with Russell or Garbisi. They will play the... It's very interesting how many people consider the 80 minutes thing important. I don't know if they've got the minutes played thing in this year. I don't see anything that suggests that minutes played means... Apart from, obviously, you can do more if you play 80 minutes compared to 40. But last year, they used to have a whole thing for minutes played, like, per game. And I think it counted towards points. And I don't think they do have it this year. So someone can have a very good 60 minutes compared to someone having a very bad 80 minutes. And I think you still outscore them. So, Garbisi played the full 80 last week. And he got 15. I don't know. In a game they won against Scotland in the rain, where all you would do is kick, right? But, so I don't know about that one. Maybe Russell. I don't know. I don't know about Russell. For me, I'd be looking at Ford or Jalibert there. Maybe a Sam Prendergast to be different, is what I'd be saying. Also, thoughts on James Ryan over Izuchu at second row. What, as an overall pick? Maybe. James Ryan is... Because James Ryan's another one who's bad for penalties. Unfortunately, it seems to be a thing in the Irish lock department. They have a lot of people that will give away penalties. I've looked at that more as that I get an extra back row. He may come off at halftime, and it might have been a terrible, terrible call. It's not a reliable pick by any means. That's my bigger dice roll this week is whether that turns up for me or not. Maybe not. James Ryan. I think James Ryan's coming off, though, is the only thing. If we're talking about the 80 minutes thing, I reckon James Ryan is coming off for, I assume for Tyke Byrne. Where's Ireland? Have I got Ireland up? Yes, I do. I assume Tyke Byrne's coming on for James Ryan. 50 minutes. So I don't think so. Dunn said, it does not give you points. I just fear that Ford may get less points because some kicks will go to Finn. I think he'll play 60s, you said, versus Wales. There's a guarantee would play 80. Yeah, maybe that was a misstep by me last week that I really had Ford down. I even said it on stream. I was like, I think not having Ford is a misstep. And then I went for Garbisi. But Marcus Smith coming on, there's, I never like it when a team has two kickers. It's real now with France. France have got Ramos and Jalibert, right? Is there a chance that they want to take Ramos off to keep him safe at halftime? Let's say France are 40-0 up at halftime. You've already won the game. You've already got your bonus point try. Do you want to keep Ramos on, or do you try and mess about a bit? Do you put Noah on and you shift people around and you cover, and then Ramos is off. So then all of those kicking points that I'm banking on, they go to Jalibert. I never like it when teams have two kickers and stuff. So England is absolutely in that void of. They could have, it could absolutely be that Finn Smith comes on. I reckon it's more likely that England take points early in that game. First 40 is penalties. If they begin to win, they'll stop going for threes. They'll start going for the tries, the driving balls and stuff. So later in that game, they might have less kicking opportunities through Finn. But Finn might run more with the ball. So could either go either way. Jonathan says you've gone for Ben White at scrum half instead of Dupont. A lot of people have raised some very valid points about the scrum halves. Especially that idea of the kicks recovered. Especially with Kyle staying out on that right wing. Every time they go to that right wing, they'll just do a box kick, and then suddenly Ben White starts scoring a lot of points. I still say if I was not going to have Dupont, Jamie Dobby, take the risk again. It would be fun. I enjoy messing around sometimes with some of them. I know people take it very, very seriously. I enjoy the fun element of the fantasy, right? I think it's fun to get involved with. It's fun to win if you do win. But I think it's fun to not always. The weird thing about rugby specifically, especially the Six Nations, I always feel like the bigger the name, the better they do, and it always seems to be like that. It very rarely do the risks pay off. I'm already thinking the Isachukwu risk won't pay off this week. It was a risk last week with all my Scottish boys. They never seem to. I would love to, I might at some point. I wonder if it would be fun to make a second account on like one of these fantasies and just pick the names in every position and not touch it for the year and just see over the 6 rounds where you end up by just picking the biggest names in each position, right? So you got your, either Genge or Fischetti at loose head, Sheehan at hooker, tight head, dunno, it could depend on the year. Previous years you would have looked at like Winnie Antonio maybe. A lock department, you put in Tyburn. I don't know who you'd go for just as outside him. A lot of people would say a Toje. I probably wouldn't have picked a Toje. Dav Jenkins always does well in the fantasy, to be fair. I would certainly have picked Tyburn in there. Maybe Giard. I have to think about how you players, orient themselves. But if you did that, your back row was always Ben Earl. It was always Doris. And we haven't got the standard French back row. Maybe you do Anthony Gelange in at 8 for France. Dupont. Don't know about 10. Maybe Ford or Jalibert. You always pick Menoncello at 12. Probably would have always picked Hugh Jones at 13. He didn't have a good game, but you probably would have put Hugh Jones in there. And then you always do BLBRE, Ramos, and maybe even Freeman on the wing. And you just built that team and just left it alone and just see every week how they get on. You might get screwed a bit by substitutes or injuries coming in, but just to see how well you got on just by the big names in each position, like taking that and see how you get on. I do think that is unfortunately the way sometimes the fantasy goes. I would like more lower capped people, the 1%. Ferrari last week, Ferrari was like a 1% pick and I was part of the 1%. And I love that because he got man of the match and he had a great game. And I think that's where it's fun. Sometimes picking the more sort of outsider names that not just everyone's going for and it paying off. I think that's fun, and hopefully a lot of people get the enjoyment out of that too. Right, guys, we have gone past 6 o'clock. My voice is going. It hurt all of Saturday. My voice was gone from doing the stream last week. If it's the same next week where we get 5, is there game next? Oh, there is still games next week. It's the week after is the bye week, right? So if it's the same next week that we get at least 5 of the 6 teams, announced by the Thursday, we might do another stream, doing it again. I'm probably not picking Wales for any of the rounds, really. So if Wales don't announce their team to the Friday every week, so be it. We'll just do one of these. If it's that we only get a handful of the only 2 or 3 teams announcing on the Thursday, I don't know if it's as much fun because it suddenly means nothing to have all your teams picked, right? So. And I'm not one of those people who's like, here's my team for the week. And then I put out that video on a Tuesday and then immediately destroy my team by the Friday. And it's a totally different team and the video is pointless. I don't like doing any of that. I like building a team and sticking with it, even if it goes wrong. That will be my team for this round. Unless, again, like it was with Faye Weboso last week, someone get injured. And I've got to make a late change and there's no way I can put it in the video. That will be my team and I'll just leave it be. Even if I change my mind, I think it's funner to just to leave it be and be what it is that people can see the squad. But hopefully everyone has enjoyed this one, guys. Like I said, we'll hopefully do one of these next week. If not, we've got the Monday videos coming out, which we'll do the results and stuff to see how we've all got on. Hopefully I stay in the 100. I hope everyone that has joined in with the chat today has had fun, and I hope you all do well. I hope your more outsider picks or your super subs do well for you. And I will see you all next time, guys. Bye-bye.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mine.